Welcome, welcome to Get Your Bell Rung. I have an amazing guest. I have someone who's a professional wrestler. She was a model. She was an actress. She's did it all. She is also the only female in G.L.O.W, Gorgeous Days of Wrestling, to actually be on the pilot and for all 4 seasons. Hollywood, how are you?
I'm really well. How are you, my friend?
I am doing good. First, let me say this real quick. I want to thank everybody who has reached out to me. Concerns for my daughter Zoe. She is doing wonderful right now. After this podcast, I'm going to head back to the hospital and stay there with her overnight. She's currently with her mom, but she's doing good. So thank you all who have reached out. It's the amount of professional wrestlers who really don't know me who've actually reached out to me, man. It was surprising, and it's really heartwarming to see people, so concerned that don't really know you. So thank you
Right,
all. I
and reach
appreciate it.
out and reach out.
Yes,
It's family. Yeah,
absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
awesome. Warms
And
my heart as well.
speaking of family, how was what was it growing? What was it like growing up in the family you grew up with? Did you grow up in a professional wrestling family? When were you introduced to professional wrestling? Let's talk about this.
No, no, no. Grew up in Southern California. I am a native there. Mom and dad are not from there. My dad's from Ohio. My mom's from Texas. They met when my dad was in the Air Force, and then they moved to California, had kids there. So I love California. I love the weather. Um, I love everything about it. I'm there right now, okay? But I go back and forth. So growing up, I have two sisters younger. They're both married. They both have two boys each. So I have four nephews. And growing up in our household, our poor dad, I mean, he has all women. So
Oh,
I kind of was like the tomboy of most of us wrestlers are. We just kind of grew up as tomboys, but there were lots of boys on my street. Well, I don't want to play with my sisters. I want to play with the boys. Come on.
right.
And you're getting more competition. You're learning your sports even better because you have the boys to compete with. So growing up was very normal. Middle class family. We didn't get to go on these outrageous travel trips that these kids go today. Oh, we're going to Hawaii. We're going to Europe. I did not get to do that. We went camping in the tent with the neighbors across the street, and it was so fun to go with the kids that you grew up with, and we'd go to the beach. We'd go out to Santa Barbara, and more north of that area. So, and it was Disneyland, maybe. I don't remember going every year ever. Never
Right.
ever. You know what I mean? So I grew up just normal, middle class, lots of rules, lots of rules. Um, but I broke a lot of those, hence the character Hollywood, who is a heel. So when you see this character Hollywood, you playing the bad, I know we'll get to it, but playing the bad guy was perfect, the rebel, perfect for me because I kind of wasn't your typical um, teenager that got straight A's. I could have, but I hung out with a different crowd. So we all
Right.
know what that crowd is. Um, I'll let you keep going because I could keep going, so I'll shut up.
No, that's fine. So let's talk about school. Did you get involved in any type of sports in school at all whatsoever? Were you the popular girl in school, or were
Yeah,
you
what
basically
happened
the
there?
rule breaker that did your own thing?
So, you know what? When you're very young, I was a good little kid. Very, very good until fourth grade, till third grade. When I heard somebody say the F word, I'm like, oh, what's that? And I said it, got my mouth washed out with soap. So I never said that again I
Right.
just used it as a slogan. There was this board, we were in our station wagon, and there was this, I don't know, this something that said, it was toothpaste or something. It said pucker pucker P, pucker power. And I'm in the back seat using the F word. And my mother turned around, and that's what, where did you hear that? Well, the boy said it in school. You know how that goes. So right around third and fourth grade, that's when I started not wanting to follow the rules so much. I wanted to tap. When we played sports on the recess, we had four square and
Mhm.
paddleball. I would run out and put my foot down and go, tap for me and Cheryl, through the whole recess until the teacher went and told the teacher. Then I got a note written home. Mom and dad had to sign it. This didn't happen once, my friend. This happened several times. And on that last time, my father said, if you get another note, you're going to go to Catholic school. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to. I got another note. And here I am in fourth grade saying goodbye to my friends. Bye, Mary. Bye, Tammy. Bye, Lisa. You won't see me tomorrow because I'll be at a new school. I waited till my dad left and I gave the piece of paper, Mom, you have to sign this. She signed it, and that was it. And I did not have to go to Catholic school, but I learned after that. I'm like, that was too close. Yeah, I guess my mom didn't tell my dad. Lucky me, huh? Yeah, they were
So
strict.
yeah, I grew up in a strict household too, and I was the rule breaker. I'm
Me
the black
too.
sheep of the family.
Me
You
too.
know, yeah, I
I
like
was.
life.
I
It's
was until
fun,
I wasn't. You know what I mean?
right?
You learn
Yep.
right away. And so as soon as I got into the seventh, well, first of all, let's see, fifth grade, we had a play, a Christmas play. And I
Mhm.
had some lines in the Christmas play. I remember so nervous being up on stage, just trying to remember the dialogue. And then, when you first hear your voice see, we had recorders. I'm
Mhm.
old. We had those recorders. I heard my voice for the first time. I go, is my voice really that low? I go, oh, it sounds I was like horrified. Um, so once I got now into seventh grade, that's a whole different thing. Now we're 13 years old. We're a teenager.
Mhm.
And that was a little different because growing up, okay, I needed braces. I didn't need braces for 1 year or 2 years. I needed braces for 3 freaking years. Three. That was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade. Hair's all curly, being made fun of. And I think a lot of girls will attest to bullying. They didn't call it bullying back then, but when kids are making fun of you for this
Right.
reason or that, and I got made fun of. And something about me, though, at least I didn't take it to heart. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I didn't take it like my day is ruined.
Right.
Maybe because we don't have these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I stayed strong. Uh, Music into my head quite early. And so we had a band that rehearsed next door. And I swear, this is probably, I'll go back again to like second or third grade. I heard them rehearsing outside, but I didn't know they were rehearsing. I thought they were doing a Rolling Stones song cover. And I thought they were the Rolling Stones. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm watching the guitar player and the singer and the drummer. And I was just in awe. So for me, that live music back then took me to where how much I love music today.
Mhm.
Um, and then going into seventh grade, the most popular boy named Tony liked me. I didn't ask for Tony to like me, but man, when I went through those halls, those girls were making fun of me. Dream on, Jeannie. He doesn't like you. Blah blah. And so that's so mean to do that. And so in my book, when we get to it, there is a bullying chapter, and I just think it's so important to raise people up and not
Mhm.
bring people down. No one's perfect. I say this all the time. I'm sure not, but you know what? We can make things better if we smile and and we're kind and we're nice to others.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, it goes a long way. And I know these don't help today, but still,
Right.
kids, this was going around for me in the 70s. I don't think things change so much that everyone's going to be kind to one another.
Right.
But you know what? It's okay. We make mistakes. You can learn from it and you can be a better citizen, a better person for it. Then we went into 10th
Absolutely.
grade. 10th, 11th, 12th. Yes, I did play sports. You asked me that question.
Yep.
My father was my coach when I got into the second year of softball. So the first year probably was fifth grade. Then dad coached the team in sixth grade. Now, when your dad's the coach, oh boy, if you don't do what he says, you're going to hear it on the car ride home. Why didn't you steal for second base? I told you. I don't know. But when my dad gave the signal, you bet my ass was down there quick. I didn't want to get yelled at, that's for sure. But I think, unfortunately, coaches are just a little, we are the example, I guess, for the rest of the team.
Hmm.
I know it's a different time. You know, people don't spank their kids anymore. Did I get spanked? Yes. We were not beat by any means, you know what I mean? But
Right.
a good spanking scared you.
Hmm.
And I did get spanked, not a lot, but a few times. Or you're grounded. I stole gum. Oh my God. I had to ride my bicycle back to the store and return the gum up on the counter and go, "Sir, I'm sorry, I stole this." Because my best friend's mom, my best friend Chucky, he was my best friend. He told his mom that we stole gum. So, you know, you do stupid things,
Right.
but we had a lot of freedom. So I grew up in a suburb of Los Angeles called Burbank, which is a very safe area.
Hmm.
And we would just get on our bikes and take off. Bye, we'll see you later. And we would take off far away. We would just ride our bikes. I'd go to Griffith Park. I'd go over to this place that had trains, and I love trains, like old trains.
Hmm.
And Travel Town, they called it Travel Town. And I would ride my bike there, get off the bike and go through the trains. They would have birthday parties sometimes in those trains. And I was thinking, because they were stationary, you know, they didn't
Right.
move. They were old steam engines. And they would have birthday parties. And I kept thinking, I want a birthday party in here. No, never got a birthday party in a train. It was always at home, grandmas, aunts and uncles, friends over. You could have friends. You know, it's such a different time. The ice cream man
Right.
was such a, oh, ice cream. Couldn't wait till the ice cream man came down looking for change. Mom, mom.
Yep. So
Fun
when did
times, let me tell you. I love my childhood. I'm blessed, really. Not everybody has the same,
right.
and has their parents still alive, has their parents still married. I mean, my dad is 86 and my mother is 82. So, wow. And living in the house that I grew up in, that I snuck out, by the way, the window to the left. Oh, yeah, my ass was out that window until I got busted. It's
Right.
always the neighbor, right?
Always.
Always the
Absolutely.
neighbor who's
Absolutely.
going to
Yeah. The
throw you
70s
under
and
the
80s
bus.
was definitely a great era. Uh, did you get into professional wrestling as a fan before you ended up on Glow?
No, I don't. You know, that was 1985. I'm more into music. All right. I'm listening
Right.
to bands play. My boyfriend at the time was in a band, but I had this audition. So there was no wrestling that I ever watched. Only when I went to my grandma and grandpa's, grandpa would have this wrestling on. And I'd say, turn the TV. This is boring. I just wasn't, no, you know, truthfully, I was not a fan. My friends, when I graduated high school, what do I do next? I did not know what I wanted to do. I can tell you this, I did not want to go to college. I just got out of school.
Right.
And my parents, I just told them, I'm like, I don't want to go to school. If I go to school, I am not going to learn anything. I'm not ready to go to school. So I got a job right away. I went into medical and I was a phlebotomist, somebody who draws blood. But during that time, I had friends that were wanting to be actors, but they were starting as extras in the background, you know, for movies and
Right.
commercials. So they asked me if I wanted to try it out. So I asked my boss, can I take off? And he's like, yeah. He goes, go ahead, you can take off. I don't even know if I told him why. as I'm walking through the scenes, I'm like, oh my God, I go, people get paid for just walking back and forth in the background and they get fed. This is cool. Wow. So, yeah. So, when I wanted to do another one and take off, my boss was like, nope. He goes, you want to be an actress or do you want to have a real job? And I'm like, oh man, he sounds just like my father. Okay. And you don't want to hear that. So, there happened to be, we had answering machines, or I had a pager, something like that, and it went off. I checked my messages or the answering machine, and it was the company that hired me to do background work. They said, there's an audition at 6 p.m. It's in West Hollywood at the Hyatt on Sunset. I knew exactly where that was. And they said it was an audition for a sports TV show. They didn't tell me what kind of sports, but I'm thinking, what could it be? I know volleyball and softball and basketball, track. I got it all. And I got A's in all of those. So this is going to be easy. So I go down there. And just like the Netflix show, people are holding their little pictures and resumes, sitting down. And here comes David McLean telling us that this show is going to be about wrestling, women's wrestling. And I thought I was going to die. I'm like, wrestling, wrestling. Sorry for my language.
No, you can drop the fuck bomb all you want. It's my
Okay.
favorite
But
word.
I don't usually, but I'm just, you know, and I'm like, wrestling. I saw a bunch of girls get up and they left. And it made me so nervous. I'm like, what do they know that I don't know? What is happening here? But, you're young. I'm 20, 21, fearless. Okay. Okay. I'll go and now we'll train. All right. So anybody could train. It didn't matter your size, your height, your color, it didn't matter. And this is really what I loved about G.L.O.W because we had all colors and sizes, which was great. And everybody didn't look the same.
Right.
So when I went down to my first training session, Mondo Guerrero was my trainer for 2 months, and they were looking for 12 girls only, 12 ladies to do a pilot. They had the character names already ready. They were trying to put our personalities with a character. And I was praying it would be Hollywood Vine or Tina and Ashley. I'm like, don't give me anything else because I'm not going to get it. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm training at 7 p.m. till about 10 or 11 at night. And then I'm going back into my regular job and working. And I don't know, we all know when you
So let me
learn.
interrupt you. Let me interrupt you for a second. When you say
Yeah,
you're going in for training, do you mean that you're going in for training for wrestling to get prepared to know how to wrestle in the ring?
yes, yes. Yeah,
So let me ask you about this because I've had many wrestlers on this podcast from
yeah,
different times and era. Uh, and people from our era that went to wrestling, any type of a wrestling school or train for wrestling, they will tell you that it was brutal. The cardio they wanted you to do was brutal. The bumps you had to take was brutal. Even getting thrown to the ropes because the ropes were different back then, that it would rip your flesh at times. Did you
yeah,
experience all of that type of stuff?
pretty much. You named it all. If you hit
So,
those ropes wrong, you're screwed.
right.
Yes.
So let
Bumps
me
and
ask you this
bruises
then.
everywhere, hun. I felt a
Was
lot
there
of
a
pain here.
time
Excuse me?
No, I was saying, was there a time that you were like, "F this, man. This isn't worth, the type of acting that I want to do," or were you hooked?
I know it wasn't an acting show. I know it was sports. I didn't have any acting experience, but I thought, well, hell, we're going to be on TV. So let's go this route. Okay, that's what I was thinking. And like I said, when you're young, you're fearless, you just jump in and do it. And I did. And every day that I would come back, bruised, feeling like this, I just kept going back. And every time I would go back, there would be less and less women, or maybe a couple new ones, and these other girls gone. I'm still staying. Now, it wasn't until years later when David McLean said to me, do you know how you secured your position? I go, I don't. I go, how did you pick me? He says, And everyone knows the story. I've said it. Mondo just asked all the ladies in the ring, which one of you can ram your head in the turnbuckle, land over on your back? I'm not stupid as far as, you know, I probably couldn't have done it, but I knew as soon as he said which, my hand was up. David said, I saw you raise your hand first. You went and did it and didn't complain about it. And in my mind, he goes, you were the first Glow girl hired. After that, he said it was Americana. After that, it was Lisa Moretti, who, as we all know, is Ivory in WWE. So, wow. So I always say to young kids, man, give 110%. You just do. Don't let these do the work for you. I know it's so easy to let AI do all the crap, but use your brain, use your senses, and give 110. I'll tell you, if I was like judging any contest, that's the first thing I want to see is that person giving what I gave. I think when you put in the time, well, there is no crime, obviously. I'm rhyming time and crime. You put in your time and there won't be any crime.
I
You're
don't
winning.
know.
Those are
I don't know because although it's been many years, and I'm 52 years old, so right now
you're
we're
only
not there.
52. 52.
Yeah, 52.
Okay,
So our
I
age,
got 10 years on you. But
but
go.
10 years isn't a lot, right? My best friend is actually 10 years older than me.
Okay.
But whenever you're younger, I'm 10 years old, you're 20 years old, I'm watching you on TV. At
Mhm.
that point, there's an age difference.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I remember, and for the rest of my Glow girls that's been on here, I loved all of you guys. I really did. You were one of my favorites, if not my favorite, because I have always loved heels.
They're the
Always,
best,
regardless if
aren't
you're a
they?
female, right? Regardless of the female or male, I've always loved heels. That's why I love Bob Cook, who's my co-host on
I love
Tuesdays.
Bob. He's so
Um,
sweet.
but let me ask you this though. Uh, Oh, what I was getting to is you said crime and the type of heel you played a pretty damn good heel, and you can almost say some of the things that you did should have been a crime. So,
Oh yeah, for real. We got away with so much. We
right,
did until we didn't, which season 3 and 4 had to be tamed down a
right,
lot.
right,
You don't ask a girl to, you don't light the hula hoop on fire and make her bark like a dog and jump through it. You
right,
don't chainsaw a watermelon and put it on someone's head of color.
right,
See what I
right.
mean? You
Yep.
you could never get rid of, you could never do that again anywhere. And even our promos, me telling that I was gonna, I said the F word because when they said get in here and talk about what you're gonna do, it was my first time to be on camera by myself, and I looked at our director Matt. I go, can I say anything? He goes, yeah. I go, anything. He goes, anything. I'm like, okay. And that is on there, and you'll never see it again. What I said.
But
And I was so
let's go.
embarrassed too. I could see that, my face was getting red.
But let's go back
Yeah,
way back to the very beginning, though. When you first started out, did you start out immediately as a heel?
never changed.
Never changed. So, was that Matt's decision that you should be this heel? And if so, whoever made that decision, why you? Why did they think that you would play such a heel? What was it about yourself?
I don't think I look like a heel. So when you have a girl that's a little more innocent, I'm looking like I'm, 17 instead of 21. Let's get a girl. Well, first of all, remember they were putting our personalities with each other. Now,
Mhm.
I already have this rebel background already.
Right,
I love my heavy metal and my rock and roll. So whatever they saw in my personality, they just went, she's going to be a heel. And let's use Hollywood. And when they said, you're Hollywood, I was like, thank God. Then I had to figure out, well, who is Hollywood? Who is Hollywood and Vine? Well, pickpocket people? How lame. Pickpocket people. That sounds so stupid. I'm thinking, okay, now we're going to make, um, hi, who is that? Drew. Hi, Drew
yep,
from
yep,
Philly.
Drew,
Um,
yep, you're the best. Shout out from
I
Philly.
see that. Hi, kiddo. Uh, who's what does Hollywood and Vine do? And I thought, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna listen to rock music. We're gonna dress like those vixens in those 80s videos, like the Motley Crue videos and the Scorpion videos. If you look, if you notice, my outfit in Vine is changing. Sometimes I wore an animal print, and sometimes I wore a silver corset. The later one was black and pink. The first thing was pink. So I would go to Hollywood and I would go into Fredericks of Hollywood and to Playmates, all these little dress shops where I knew all the dancers went to buy something for us. However, I never got permission. I bought them. I didn't ask for anyone to reimburse me. I bought this. I said, Vine, you wear this one and I'll wear this one and we're going to come out. If I said to the wardrobe lady, can we wear this? Or to the director, they would have said, no, you don't. I knew not to ask anyone. So that's why you see different outfits for us. And I think we're the only ones that did it.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So a lot of professional wrestlers that I've talked to, and through articles that I've read and in
Mhm.
different interviews, they've all said that their in-ring personality was kind of them just raised to 100%. Is that
Yeah,
true for yourself?
for real. Yes, absolutely. Um, it's hard. It's still hard to play a heel, especially to people that you're friends with, without laughing. um, and I've done that where I'd throw somebody in a headlock, like, oh my God, and hide it. Um, but playing the heel is the best. It's the best. You ask any of the girls that you've probably interviewed, the good girls, they rather have probably been a heel.
Hmm.
Get away with a lot more. Now, the only girl that I saw that was a baby face was our first farmer's daughter, which was Sally with the red top. They
Hmm.
put Sally and I together all the time. We went to high school together. We knew the same people. We were just a couple of years apart. But man, when we got in that ring, it was real. It was not fake. It was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, really? It was weird, but we had the best matches because I just really wanted to outdo her, knowing that, well, our friends from school are going to watch us, that type of thing. I didn't know any of the other girls, but I knew of her and she knew of me. But and then they put us together over and over and over. And uh, it was great because you knew what you were getting. You just knew that it was going to be all out with balls, all out debauchery almost. There was one match we didn't even get in the ring. We never made it to the ring ever. She was fun to wrestle.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Um, and I don't want names mentioned if this because I love all professional wrestlers. I don't like starting issues.
Right.
But was there anyone that you had heat with that you got in a ring with that you really wanted to fight them at times?
Just her.
It's her.
Just Sally, really. All the other ladies were great. You got to remember, too, I did season 1 and 2. We lost everybody in I have all these new girls. I don't know anything about 3 and 4. I'm like, oh, starting all over again. And I also didn't have to be and do everything that those young ladies had to do from season 3 and 4. Their pay was different. Their workouts were different. I'm leaving on Saturday, going back to LA. I'm coming back on Wednesday and then going through what we were, expected to do for the show on Saturday. Another thing, though, that I did that I think is always good is when you expect the unexpected. So for me as a heel, even though, we knew, excuse me, I have to, excuse me,
Bless you.
I'm sorry.
Bless you. No,
Woo!
you're fine.
It's always threes. I'm sorry. Um, we always knew the outcome of our matches.
Right.
Heels hardly won at all. So what I would do, even though we knew who was going to win, we knew everything. Getting the crowd revved up has got to be one of the best feelings. Oh my God, yes, Drew, it does. And getting them revved up comes to this. I would come to the ring about 15 minutes early. I put stuff under the ring. I put bottles of water. I put in props. Then I would ask cameramen, we had cords back
Mhm.
then. There wasn't cordless anything. Everything was cords. And I would say, hey, can you put down a cord for me and put a piece of tape that I can recognize if it's neon orange or green that I can pull up? That way, when we're outside, I'm going to pick that thing up and wrap it around her neck, throw her into the audience. So those are the things that I did that made, I think, the character either hateable or lovable. Because if you're doing your job, as you know, you're going to get booed. But I will tell you, when I got booed, and I'd look straight in their face to see who it was, when they came up for autographs, them, Hollywood, can we have your autograph? I go, I saw you guys booing me. Yes, but we love you, Hollywood. So, it's what's such a wonderful time. And like you said, the question before was, it was Sally, mostly was Sally. The other girls, we're young, they're all pretty girls, and everybody was so excited to be on TV and to be doing their job. So I don't think there
Right.
were few people that had issues, but for the most part, we all got along really well
So let me ask you
until we
about.
didn't. No,
Well, I trust me. I've heard. I've
I
stayed
know
away
you
from.
know.
I've stayed away from that. So now I want to talk about money for a second. Now I don't want to know how
Yeah,
much you were making, but
I
back
can tell you,
then.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Well, that's
When I
fine.
was
Back
mine
in
was
the '80s.
$100 a day. A
Okay,
hundred. It
okay,
was different. It was different for season 1 and 2. Season 3 and 4 were getting 250. That's it, 250, and then they were supposed to get the rest of it when they completed the season. Now, one of my good friends, Lightning, she told me all that. I looked at her contract. I saw the contract. I'm like, oh, geez. I go, that sucks. So I continued to get my amount of money. Um, but there was a time I didn't want to come back. And I said, no, I don't want to come back for season 3. Everyone's gone. It's just Mountain Fiji is still there, thank goodness. And Nanuchka had come on board as well. So us three, I'm like, no. And they said, well, we really want you to come back. Let's have a meeting and let's talk. Okay, let's talk. They go, what do you want? They asked me, what do you want? And I said, I only want to work once a week. I just want to come in once a not no not once a week. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Once a month. I go, I only want to do this show once a month. No, 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 you can't do that, Hollywood. I go, but you just asked me what I wanted. Now, I'm stupid. I should have said, I want this, this, and that. I just wanted
right,
freedom. I wanted to
right,
have a boyfriend. I wanted to be able to do things without curfew, and be able to be a young 20-year-old. Okay. Anyway,
right.
they said, okay, why don't you come in on Wednesdays and you can leave on Saturday? Deal. My stupid head, being young, was like, well, then I need a raise. I'm stupid. Why didn't I say that?
Right,
I
right.
learned. We
Yeah.
learned.
So
That's the
while
kind of
you
person I
were
am. I wasn't thinking about money. I
right,
really loved doing the show and I loved being on TV.
well, I think it's the time because again, we're only 10 years apart, and I can tell you that in the '90s, I was 18 in 1990. I wasn't thinking about money back then either. I wanted to be adventurous. I wanted to travel and stuff like that. So I can relate to that. While you were doing Glow, were you auditioning for other acting
Parts.
positions? Yeah, acting parts.
I should have, but because I had to be there a lot, I didn't. I did a few things here and there. Modeling, I did a lot of calendars back in the day. Now we did get to do Playboy, and
Hmm.
that came from Glow. That story's in here. I'm not going
Right.
to go into it, but I ended up getting to do Playboy, which I always wanted to do. Try telling that to your mom and dad. Okay, when they're strict Catholic, I told them ahead of time, okay? Dad, mom, I'm going to be in Playboy. Oh, they looked at me and I said, don't worry. And I go, I'll let you know when it comes out, just real quick. Well, it came out and I didn't tell my father yet. I had it in my room. I think I had moved back into the house. This is 1989. I moved back home for a little bit after Glow. Dad goes, the neighbor down the street said your Playboy is out. Oh, it's so embarrassing. I was
Oh.
like, I go, yeah, Dad. He goes, well, can I see it? And I'm like, okay. Now, it's my legs are crossed.
Hmm.
I had lingerie on from here, covered all the way down. Well, they decided to turn the lingerie. So now this part's open and this
Right.
part's open. However, though, I had my legs crossed and all I am is just on a bathtub like this. My
Right.
mother saw it. She goes, oh, thank God her legs are closed.
Let's talk about Playboy
I'm
for a
so
second.
embarrassed.
Let's
I
talk
was
about
in,
Playboy.
oh,
Let's
but I'm
talk about
like,
Playboy for a moment.
okay,
So when you went to take the pictures with Playboy, was there a lot of stress with doing this? Was this something that they made you guys feel relaxed? Walk me through this and tell me the
sure.
how it all worked and how it came together.
Yeah, sure. So as a 20-year-old in your 20s, I felt nervous at first, but then I looked on the set. No one cares a crap what you look like. They got the lighting person over there. Someone's doing my nails. Someone's doing my hair. Someone's doing the makeup. Cameras over here, lighting, sound. It was comfortable. I was just like, this is nothing how I imagined. I don't feel uncomfortable at all. Now, again, I kept that pose, but they didn't ask me really. I must have been on that pose because I'm tall and thin. So they're trying to make curves, So they're like, bend more, bend, bend. Yeah, it felt like it was 5 hours on that same butt cheek, right there. Yeah. I had a bruise. I looked in the mirror. I go, where did that come from? And I went, from that bathtub. I was sitting on that thing for hours. And then they pick a photo that I hated. I'm like, oh my God, you could have made my hair look nice. They had me in a shower. My hair was wet and I have curly hair. So now it's curling up. It looks like straw. It's white, blonde. Ugh.
Did
But
you was
I
this done
was
was
very
was this done at the Playboy
happy.
Mansion?
Oh, I've been there several times. Yes.
Yep.
I
I'm
was in
assuming
the
he met you.
magazines. I did meet him but I didn't. It's interesting because I watched a lot of, well, after he passed away, the documentaries that came out after that. I was like, wow. Doesn't surprise me that those things were probably going on, but I didn't know anybody particular in that scene.
Mhm.
I didn't know any of those girls,
Have you
and
heard
when you
about?
go,
I was
huh,
going to ask you
I
real quick. You talked about watching documentaries. There's a show right now currently on Max called The Playboy Murders.
That's the
And
one. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
one of
I
them.
was shocked by how many, some of the Playboy women became people who murdered people, and as
I
well as some who
know.
was murdered.
I know.
Mind blown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know any of those people. I knew some of their names, but
Hmm.
you know, it's a big, everybody wants to be an actress. When you come to Los Angeles, I think I watch the planes come in all the time, and uh, my boyfriend would say, or somebody would say, here comes, 20 musicians or 15 and 20 going back, or models, the same thing. There was a lot of competition out there. And if you can't handle that, there would be, for me, if I did a Married with Children, there would be 20 girls that looked just like me.
Mm.
It was tough. So if
Yep.
you didn't have that in you, forget about
Yep. Yeah.
auditioning.
And I
And
want to,
plus it was the 80s.
right. And I want to get to your acting career in a minute, but let's go to
Mhm.
season 4. You find out,
Mhm.
when did you guys find out that this was it? This is the last season. You're done after this. When did you guys
Yeah,
find
well,
that
we
out?
didn't
And
know it
was
was the
there,
last season. Yeah, we
okay.
didn't know that season 4 was going to end. It was just like they took the carpet right out from underneath us and it was done. It was a phone call that said there's no more money, no more show.
Now
Now
you
we all
mentioned,
had an idea of how that happened and
right,
why it happened. And I won't say names, but I talk a little bit about it in the book without making anybody look bad. Um,
right,
but the money was gone. If there's no money, there's no show. So
right.
I thought to myself, well, what the hell am I going to do now?
Well, and that's what I'm going to ask you. So you mentioned Lisa, who Ivory, right, with the
Yeah.
WWE
Yep.
Ivory. Now, you actually went to the indie scene. I think you're one of the only, at least from the ones I've talked to, they all stopped wrestling for the most part. You actually went to the indie scene. Why did you choose to go to the indie scene and not try out for WWE? Or did you try out for WWE?
Okay, Indy first.
Hmm.
Uh, Cheryl Lightning and I did the indie route for a little bit. It just wasn't the same as Glow. It just was not on that same level. I hated it really. And then I broke my leg. And when I
Mm,
broke my leg, it was December 1998. I broke my leg, and a friend of mine, Rick Bassman, who had a school that I had gone to, had me on an audition. He said, back then it was WWE, WWF is coming to town, and I want you to interview for it. Oh my God, I'm right. I'm thinking to myself, I'm only 6 weeks into this broken leg. And I was damn sure that I was going to make sure I had all of the motion back. You know,
mhm.
I could, my leg was sticking straight out. I broke it in three places before, below the knee. So I decided to put sweatpants on to hide the atrophy, but I was still limping a lot. And my leg, I couldn't really bend. I'm doing my feet, I'm supposed to land like this, you know, but
Right.
my heel wants to land like that. So Jim Ross is down there. He's asking me all kinds of questions. Who trained you? Mondo Guerrero. Oh, how long? What? I told him I was with Glow. Oh, how many years for? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And they made it so nervous that finally I did get in the ring with one of their guys and wrestle with him. He taught me something that was very interesting because I noticed that a lot of wrestlers, especially the girls that weren't trained the same, would grab people really hard, and you don't have to grab someone that hard. He said, and I held his hand like that. He goes, don't, just relax. He goes, you don't have to do it that hard. I said, no, you don't. So he taught me some things right there. So I wrestled with him a little bit, and we're going back and forth in the ring. And then I looked at them and I said, you guys, I felt that they really liked me, and I just couldn't lie. I didn't want to lie. And I just said, you guys, I'm right in the middle of a broken leg. And that was it. Now, if I would have healed properly and I wanted to go back, I would have.
Mm.
But I wanted to go out and party and hang with my friends and have a boyfriend. It was
Right.
that was to me more
Right.
important.
And let me ask you this question though. So, do you think it's a blessing in disguise that you didn't go to WWE then? Because back during that time period was when they didn't really use women to wrestle all that much. It was more
Right,
sexualized to sexualize the
right,
women, right?
right,
Um,
right.
is that something you would have been okay with? Or did you want to be taken seriously as a wrestler if you would have actually
Right.
continued and got to WWE?
Right. I would have wanted to be taken seriously, and we're still in that time period where we're not.
Mhm.
You know, when we were in Glow, I don't know if you asked any of the girls the question, but I don't really think that people accepted that show then on TV, that girls were wrestling.
Right,
I don't remember anyone saying anything until years later. Years later, it just didn't, what was there to watch back then? Wonder
right,
Woman and Isis and Catwoman. There was no wrestlers. There wasn't anyone to look up to. They looked at us, and the indie people made fun of us. Oh, you guys are making fun of. We weren't trying to make fun of it. Our show was different.
right.
It had comedy sketches in it. It had fun things and those rap songs, that I get embarrassed to do today. But we had these fun things that we did, and it made it different than an indie show.
Absolutely. And
And
Drew, I
then when
think
that ended, yeah.
Drew, I think what he said, and thank you, Drew,
Oh,
for saying that, because you're exactly
yeah,
right. I think Glow was really the original women's revolution
yeah.
in professional
Thanks,
wrestling
Drew.
for women. Do you agree with that?
I do. We broke that glass ceiling, let me tell you. I know I didn't think of it then. I had no
Right.
idea. We didn't even know if we were popular. I don't know if the girls told you this, but I when I was off on that Monday, Tuesday, I went over to the office in Los Angeles and I asked the secretary, Jackie, I go, what's that big bag over there? Oh, she goes, that's the Glow mail. I go, what? We didn't get our mail. We did
Wow.
not get it. I freaking ran over there real quick and I was like, oh my God, people know who we are. You don't, they didn't want us to have a big head. I understand you've got 30 girls, 40 girls, and you're trying to keep everybody's head in the same,
Mhm.
you don't want one to know they're more popular than the other. But I started grabbing some mail for some of the girls. Look, I should have just grabbed it and
Right.
hucked it over my shoulder
Right.
and said, ah, ran down the
Well,
hall.
well, I mean, you guys were beating at one time, then WWF in ratings. I
Yes.
mean, you guys
Yeah.
were doing
We
very,
were,
very
as Drew
well.
said, or I'll tell Drew, we were definitely ahead of our time, not knowing that we were ahead of our time.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So wrestling season four ends. You do the indie scene, break your leg, and go to WWE to see about getting involved with them. You decided, really don't want to do that. When did
No.
you actually start acting? Because you've been in shows like Jag, Days of Our Lives, Chuck,
Those were
Married with
stunt. That
Children.
was stunt work. Yeah. A lot of that was
Talk,
stunts.
okay, talk to me about your stunt work.
Yeah. The stunt work was great. So Cheryl Russa got me into that. I would go on sets with her. We'd hustle the sets, meaning go over, talk to the coordinator, which you could do way back in the day. Hi, I'm so and so. Here's my resume. If you need me, here's my information. I did that for a while. And I specifically only got certain parts. My chest was a little bigger back then, but I was smaller here. So I was specific for certain girls only. Days of Our Lives was one. And also, I know how to handle a gun. So guns was also a skill that I knew very well. So when it came to Chuck and certain different ones where I had to shoot, well, not a semi-automatic rifle. Oh my God. I'll never forget the stuntman saying, or the coordinator, there's four of us girls. And he's like, okay, he says to me, the girl on the left's going to go down before you. She's going to go down. Don't hit her. This is heavy. Don't hit yourself in the face. Watch your head. Action, go. It was just like all these directions, go. Oh, man.
So when you
And
got into
stunt
stunt
work
work,
really is for the young again. Again for those like wrestling,
right?
it's
Well, your stunt work, I sure you had to train for that. What was the training like that you went through?
so I did go to a training school, Bob Yorkie's. I believe he passed away. He had a some land and he had all of these stunt, I don't know what you call them. They had the trampoline there. Um, See, I don't know the things because I'm not an acrobat. Like at a circus, whatever,
Hmm.
trapeze,
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 yep.
that scared me. I'm like, oh, I don't think I can do this. I got stuck up on the trapeze. I'm going like this. I'm going back and forth. And Cheryl goes, Jeannie, you have to let go. I go, I can't. I finally let go into the net. I'm so scared. So yes, I did some training, but you can never audition for anything without skills. So
Right.
falling hard, if you're a wrestler, you can hit the ground easily. They called it ground pounding. Guns, that was another skill. Those things I could do without a lot of training. So I should have stayed in that business. But last year, a Nicole Kidman's movie was being shot in Nashville, and Chavo Guerrero, Chavo,
Hmm.
he was coordinating a show in Texas with another guy that was coordinating this movie, and he brought my name up to the coordinator. Did. He goes, Jeannie lives in Nashville, got a hold of me. So I was a stunt driver. Now, I'm not talking about a precision stunt driver. I'm talking about utility where I'm a mom. I'm dropping my kids off to school. So there was a movie called Holland, Michigan that starred Nicole Kidman. She's driving her kid to school and having a conversation. I just drive behind her and drop off my kid. So it was that kind of a day. And
Right.
those pay so good. And you got, that's the money right there. If I had to do it all over again, I would have went straight into the
Great.
stunt or the acting. Matt
Yeah.
always said, I had a meeting with him a couple of years ago. We went to lunch and he said, what disappoints me the most? I'm thinking, what? He said that none of you went into acting. Now, if they would have pushed us a little more, you should do this, get us agents, we would have been doing it.
Right.
You know, sometimes I'm the oldest in my family, and sometimes, and I didn't know anybody else in that business, so there was really no one to tell me. My brain was going, oh, boyfriend, band, party, bye. You know,
Right.
I got in so much trouble. I got those girls in G.L.O.W. I got some of those G.L.O.W. girls in so much trouble. They told us not to go to San Diego. They told us when we were in San Diego not to go to TJ. Hollywood, especially you. I don't want you going down to TJ. We have a show the next day. I said, okay. As soon as the meeting ended, come on, girls, let's go. No, we can't go. Matt said no. I said, we said that we were going to go on the plane before he even told us no. So we're going. Those poor girls, what would happen is they would get docked money. He would take
Oh,
money from them. I never got docked, but they
right.
did. And yeah, they're like, Daisy goes, we can't afford to hang out with you, Hollywood.
So I want to talk about the series on Netflix for a second, and then I want to talk about your book. Uh,
Sure,
Now,
sure.
and people who are watching this, you guys know this by now that the Netflix TV, the Netflix show, you guys weren't on it because they didn't really want to pay you royalties or whatnot. Um, what did it piss you off that they didn't talk to you about this and that they didn't have actual characters portraying, you and the other girls?
So,
And the second part of the question
uh,
is, was there someone on the show that closely revealed your character?
sure. Those are all great questions to ask. So when all of us first heard that there might be this pilot or this TV show, Netflix show, a lot of people went, why aren't we involved? That's the first thing you want to
Right,
think. Are the Glow Girls going to be involved? This is a show that we did. That's the first thing. We were not. So that was very frustrating for a lot of people in the beginning. I saw girls talking shit. I'm sorry, they were. And I saw others like myself going, this is a good thing. This is positive. It's going to bring us back into the limelight again. Or some of those who weren't even still wrestling, they were moms and they had children and they had
right,
real jobs. I'm still signing autographs and I'm still doing wrestling. I really thought it would have been great for them to have us on for a cameo, but Ursula, our farmer's daughter, owned trademark, and the trademark was hers. She can do whatever she wants with the trademark. That's hers,
right,
not mine. It wasn't anybody else's. So I thought, well, good for her. She didn't make a shit ton of money. She didn't. She leased the trademark, okay? She leased it, and then they would pay her, but it wasn't millions of dollars. I'm telling you that right now. It was enough maybe to buy her a home away from Los Angeles. That's it. Um, so she has trademark, and we know that she has passed away. We'll get back that in a minute. But you also asked characters. They put a lot of characters together to make them look like some of our characters. Now
mhm,
I trademarked Hollywood. Um, for that reason alone. But they had a
right,
character named Melrose, and I thought Melrose was a combination of myself and Vine and MTV. And then there was Liberty Bell. That's Americana right there,
mhm,
wearing red, white, and blue. And then Bree is the Russian. That obviously was our Russian. That's
right,
what I saw. To me, that is, those are, and then they had one Britannia, remind me a lot of Godiva, and Zelda the Nerd. It was a nerd, but an English girl with a horse. So they took bits of our characters. They didn't ask any of us. They went straight to YouTube to get everything that they wanted. I got to meet Melrose a few times on an interview, and she was such a sweetheart. It was just great to meet her and do an interview with her. I was happy for the show. I just wish that they would have made the show better by hiring one or two girls,
right,
in the
yeah,
background. So whatever.
right.
Hitchcock does it. He sits there and reads a newspaper on the bus, and there's Hitchcock in his own movie. It's great.
Yep, yep. Let's talk about your book that you
Yeah.
wrote.
Thank
Tell
you.
everyone about it.
So, everybody, I finally, after 10 years, more than that, I decided that I would come up. It was just something on my bucket list that I wanted to do. It's called Hooray for Hollywood, the true story of the original Glow Girl. I figured I did the pilot and all 4 seasons, so I was there. And I should write something about it. I kept it clean. I kept it classy, not trashy. If you are a fan of, I have 3 parts, by the way. The first part's growing up. If you're interested in part 1, you can go straight there. If you're not interested in part 1, you can go straight to part 2, where is my audition for Glow, and just things that happened through all of those seasons, including the pilot. And then when we were finished, when Glow ended, I thought, what should I call that chapter? The first thing I thought was WTF. What the am I going to do now? So, so then I started talking about what part 3 was for me. Sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot for everybody. It's gotten some good reviews. I have someone that told me today that they have read this 7 times.
Wow.
I also made it very simple to read as well. You can get through it pretty quick, but it's almost 400 pages. I could have went more. I could have went more than that, but you know what? Maybe that'll be part 2. But I'm so happy. I'm happy with the colors. I want my colors are is
Right.
you the older colors are pink and black, and I just thought this is great. I use this photo. It's a photographer friend of mine, John Abeda. I shot with him. Oh my God, 25 times. I got to when I paid for it, I got all of my um negatives, so everything is mine. And in the back, Noelle Rose, who played the character Tanya the Russian. This is her photo. So I gave her credit and put Hollywood on the back of that. And I had Billy Corgan, who's a friend of mine, in here to write, and Francine, just different people. I also have all the people in Glow that have passed away in there as well. My roller coaster ride it's a great book all around. So if you can get that either at my Etsy site. Amazon is really simple and easy. Amazon.com, simple to get it.
Awesome. Let me
Yeah.
ask you, this could be
And it
a
covers
final.
some of the stuff we just talked about.
Yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing book. Everyone needs to go out and get this. Let me ask you my final question. Who are you now, and how are you different from who you were back
Back then.
then when you were wrestling? Yes.
Well, you grow up a little bit. I would say you were a kid, a teenager, you're learning, and as you don't really know it all until you get to do more things. So you think you know it at 20 or 25 or 30, you don't know shit, sorry. You need that time. I have more experience and I've learned a lot from there. I think just you grow up, and that's me. I grew up, and this is one of the things that was more important than anything, was to get the book out. Um, I have signings coming up as well. We had WrestleCon in Vegas, which was great. I am going to see you at CAC in
Yes.
August.
I'm
I can't
excited
wait
about
to
that.
meet you. Please, I have a table there, and I'm going to bring my books there as well. People asking me, are you bringing your book? Are you bring? Yes, you guys, I'm bringing the book and I will autograph it, or bring yours and I'll autograph it for you. I have the Gathering in North Carolina coming up in August. Comic-Con in Los Angeles is September. July 12th, I know I'm going around here, is HorrorCon. I've never been to a HorrorCon, so I'm going to be signing there. October goes to St. Jude, a great charity that I'll be at a second time this year. What's another one? That's at Halloween time. In November, Russellcade. I've never been to Russellcade, so I think I'm heading there in November. And then a book signing somewhere in Upper New York. So there's a lot going on. Hi, Justin.
Yep. He
Oh,
said he
love
loved your
you
book.
too. Thank you, Justin.
So,
Thank you
well,
for being on.
I tell you what, you have my number. If you're ever near Minnesota, please let me
Great.
know because I would love to attend something. What is your
Oh, I would
event?
want you there in a heartbeat. If I'm anywhere in that area, you'll be the first to know.
Perfect. How can people
Okay.
find you on social media?
Sure. If you're an Instagrammer, official Glow Hollywood. I also have soap, Hollywood Botanica with a K. Um, Facebook, you will not find me under Jeannie Basone. You're going to find me under Basone, my last name, Jeannie Marie. Um, I have, did I say Instagram? I already said that. X, that's the older one, Glow Hollywood. I try to post there as much as I can. I try to just get all the socials. And yes, I do have a TikTok. I've been posting there more. That is just hit and miss over there.
Hmm.
I did something at the beach talking about the book because, yes, you guys, I'm going to slam it down your face. I know I am. I apologize, but that's what you do when you self publish. You have to advertise. I did
Absolutely.
something at the beach in California. Oh my God, I got over 10,000 views. I'm like, how is this happening? It's just so weird. Yeah. So those are
That
all the places. I am blessed that you had me on your show.
oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Please
Thank
give
you
a
so much.
hug to your daughter for me.
Absolutely.
Positive thoughts and prayers from Hollywood
Thank you.
that
Thank you
she's
so
going to
much.
get.
And
Yeah.
thank you for coming on. I knew you wouldn't disappoint, and you blew it out of the park. You are
You're
such an
so sweet.
you're
Uh,
so interesting, and you have accomplished so much. You're a trailblazer. Make no mistake about it. Uh, Women in professional wrestling today, you are part of the reason why they have been able to move towards where they're at now, where they are taken seriously. It's all because of you
yeah,
and the other women of Glow. So thank you for
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, it takes the
Absolutely.
team to do it. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you, guys. Coming up on the 30th, I have Gene Jackson. He is an author. He actually co-authored the book for Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I am so excited about that. That is at 6 p.m. Central. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys don't miss this. And I have so many great guests coming on in July. So find me on Facebook, KG Landry. I list everyone that is going to be on and when they're going to be on. Again, Hollywood, thank you so very much. And everyone, you guys have a great weekend.
Thanks for being here, everyone. And thank you. Bye bye.